So,
Listening to some entrepreneur podcasts or what?
.NET rocks.
Oh, okay.
Sean,
How's it going?
uh, I I burned out yesterday.
Oh, how
I've
fast?
been doing a lot, dude, and I'm overwhelmed with trying. I'm overwhelmed with the precursors of legitimately trying to be serious about testing out a business, and it started getting to me, man. Like every time the phone rings, I get angry. Every recruiter calls, I sigh. Like it's just I've become extremely sensitive to interruptions, just because I'm like I'm like orange lining. I'm not red line yet, right? But like I've I've been building so much, and there's so much more for me to build and test that like now it's like I really wish I could just buy a plane ticket, go to the Grand Canyon, and spend like a week of just focusing without babies crying, without recruiters calling, without me looking at me losing hella money on the NASDAQ exchange. Like, I just want to focus, man. And I don't know, the pressure of having to relocate because my landlord's putting my unit up for sale and I have 2 months to figure out something, to me investing in cryptocurrencies like literally like 4 days ago, and then it
Oh
crashes
no.
the very no matter what I do, it crashes, right? No matter what
Yeah.
I do. I buy ride stock at $1,400. It goes up like 35%. And I'm like, okay, well, it's still low because it dropped from like $36 to like $7. So I throw like way more money on that. Way more. It immediately drops. Oh no! First, I had hella money in AMC like 2 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It
He sold it, then it
it
went skyrocketed.
yeah. First, I sold it, and then it skyrocketed. And then I said, well, it's probably is this the squeeze precursor? So go all in on AMC, and it drops like 15 20%. I'm like, okay, let me get out because it's very low likelihood that it's going to bounce because AMC is not a serious company, right? Um, so I'm like, take the money I have left over and purchase Ride, which with that $1,400, I gained like 35%, and it's still very very low, and it's an EV company.
Hmm.
Put it on Ride within like half an hour, down 15%. Next day, down 15%. Like no matter what I do, and then the crypto market plunges. No matter what I do financially, it goes to. I swear to God, it's like someone is actually planning whatever financial moves I make. Someone literally pulls a lever. It's crazy how often I make a decision and it completely goes the opposite. We're not talking about half the time. We're talking about like 80% of the time for like the last like 2 months. So
So maybe
again,
your decision making needs to be flipped. You gotta like say, I think this looks like a good investment right now. And then you go, nope, not gonna do that one.
it's unreal. And so like all this is just added stressors, man.
Everything is down right now, isn't it though? Like just about from
Dude, I gotta if things continue in the path that they've been going for like the last couple months, I actually have to work for like an employer. Like I have to like accomplish someone else's dream instead of my own. And it's like, oh, my life is limited, man. This is not how I want to live out the rest of my life, serving somebody else. F that. Like, I don't. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand responsibilities, and sometimes we do what we need to do, period. I'm just at a point in life where, like, call it a midlife crisis. I really want to accomplish my purpose. I really do. And so far, I try to remember the book, The Obstacle List Away. You may have heard me mention it a couple times within the past 5 years. It's a, a book on stoicism. And
No.
basically, instead of complaining, moaning, groaning, saying that life isn't fair, woe is me, why is this happening? It's more of embracing what is happening, embracing the fact that it is happening to you, and then defining your character through it. And this is how you magnify your character, and this is how you leverage it as a tool so that you really do stand out, and so that you really do separate yourself from the mainstream, and gain respect and gain investors. When I say investors, people that just invest in you, right? Their time, their attention, they share your vision because you've demonstrated um, durability. You demonstrated, when the world is leaning against you, that you continue to carry it on your shoulders and keep moving, even if it's by an inch. So I just try to remember that, man. But these stressors are like really testing me.
Yeah. Is it because I've been in that situation where I've been working on something and it's every interruption is a is an annoyance for real. Like you just get mad about it even. Um, is it just because you're really focused and you're actually enjoying what you're doing with, the modeling you're doing and the coding you're doing?
It's not really me like enjoying it. It's me having set deadlines, and as an individual solo person juggling like this balancing act of plates with, like, I don't know, weird things on it, and trying to keep everything balanced, and this cognitive load that I'm trying to maintain without anything leaking out. And it's pushing me, man.
Mm.
Like, do I think I'm growing as a result of it? Yeah. But like, I'm really trying to make progress. I'm trying to build something that I just conceived 2 years ago. And like, so far, my daily rituals, brick a day, it's starting to like look like something. And now it's like I see a pierce of light at the end of the tunnel. And so I'm trying to go faster so I can see more of that light. And it's like life just finds a way of hitting you, bending you over, no Vaseline, and running up in you. And it's hard for me to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool. Not
yeah,
cool,
I'm sorry for being a downer.
but no, no, it's good. It's I can be a good ear, I suppose, just to let it out, man.
Yeah. So what else? Trying to learn freaking ad campaigns on Facebook. Specifically, my target is Instagram. So breaking bread, spending money on a. Am I even sharing my screen? Come here. Breaking bread, spending money on Shutterstock. Well, I didn't pull the trigger yet. I mean, I bought a video off of there, but like, I got so many folders here. I don't even know which one's which. So basically, preparing my ad campaign, and you know how hard it is to target a demographic on the beach. like literally on the beach and not like a square mile area. Like it's hard as hell, man. I literally have to drag these like plot points in which they're a radius of at least a 1 mile distance, and I have to like plot it in the ocean and hope that the radius covers the, a piece of the shoreline, and then I have to multiply that by like 25 times, and strategically, depending on how, because the coast isn't a flat line going vertically, the coast goes like slightly slanted at like maybe 80 degrees, and then it might come back in 90 degrees, and it may go out 105 degrees. So I have to strategically plant these circles in the ocean and hope that it outlies the the actual sand part of the beach, right? I said the sand part of the beach, the actual beach itself. And that took me forever to plot out, so that literally people on the beach are going to see an ad on Instagram and not people inside their apartments or condominiums or their hotels. So anyway, let me start over. So like this is the primary one that I think a lot of people are going to click on, because the majority of people, as I said, the main demographic are women, and women that have biologically the inability to disconnect from what other people are doing. And so they stay connected, they stay scrolling, whatever, on their
Mhm.
social media. And then the other one right now is something that'll probably look like this, right? Uh, to accomplish that, I'm going to put in like a contact number on both of these. Uh, and so I got a 305 number
Mhm.
via Google Voice, because I feel like even though I don't have the mobile app deployed, I still want to be able to test and figure out what does trickle in. So I plan on planting a phone number like 305 blah 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 blah. I consider it 1-800, but those 1-800s cost like $20-$25 a month, where probably isn't nothing unless you're losing like, I don't know, like $10,000 a week just on the Nasdaq exchange. But what I was going to say is the reason why I just didn't go ahead, man up, and pay for the 800 number, because I think it looks more trustworthy, especially if I ask for a deposit, since I don't have the mobile app, and I just want to make sure that people are committed and they're going to be there when I go to deliver whatever equipment that they need. I would prefer that they leave like some deposit, so that again they're committed. And the 800 number kind of signifies that it's somewhat professional. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. 800 numbers, I guess they do, but they also kind of indicate a nationwide, like,
yeah,
number type thing. Whereas if the 305 is
local
local, yeah.
and more like Miami friendly. Like, I mean, those are the thoughts I were going through. Like, I feel like I can't have a 440. No. So my area code is 440. It's a suburb of Cleveland, right? And so to me, it doesn't make sense for there to be like beach and more beach ads and Miami, 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 right? Starting off, and then I have like a Ohio number, right? It it kind of looks irregular. It doesn't
Mhm.
fit. It's not congruent with the scene. Um, but 305, hence Miami area code, is. And so, will people trust a local Miami number and leave a, I don't know, a $4 deposit on a $25 order? Um, Meaning that they call me somehow, I route them to some web platform for them to, or I give them a link to some web platform where they pull out their card and they pay that $4 deposit. Like, maybe that should be the last of what I think about. But anyway, I got a 305 number. So now when I make calls, or yeah, when I make calls, or if people want to call me, then they can literally call this 305 number, and it gets forwarded to my 440 number.
Cool.
Uh, any feedback on, besides the fact that I haven't paid for it and there's these watermarks? Any feedback on my ads?
Um,
Be brutally
I'm not
honest.
I'm not a an ad person, I guess, in terms of making it,
Neither am I.
I know just looking at it, you might think for the font a little bit more on this one,
On both of them.
or not so much the font, but the contrast with on the other one. Like this
The,
one,
the black one looks weird.
no, the black one looks fine. It's like and maybe it's just the way I'm looking at it. There's not a lot of contrast for the need a charge part. See there's not enough like it's
Okay.
not yeah. So I don't know, but other than that, I mean, it kind of it tells you what you're doing. I I don't know what you're looking for specifically. Like there's things about like positioning of your logo, for instance. Like I would have moved it over a couple pixels to the left, but yeah,
Yeah, I
hey,
did. And this, you see my cursor?
yeah,
This right here, like completely messes up this B part over here.
oh yeah,
And I tried to finagle that for like half an hour and I tapped out.
yeah. So I maybe put a little bit into some splashier fonts and make sure that the text is a little bit more readable. It might look fine on a phone though. Maybe it's just my monitor is not that. Maybe the contrast ratio isn't very good.
Where's my to dos at? I thought I had a to dos on here. Oh,
It might be worth seeing if you could find a similar looking ad and see what they did with the fonts and colors. But just to make sure that it, like I said, it's readable and it stands out. I'm not sure how much but I don't know. You could probably. I wonder if you could just pop on Twitter and see if there's anybody who's done like a marketing degree or a advertising degree that doesn't use it but has the skills that's in your network and
I don't have
ask
any
them.
money to pay anybody
No,
because,
just ask if you could just ask people in general. People love to give advice.
okay. In addition to that, I've
Any
been talking to a whole bunch of Chinese factories and requesting quotes on canopies and battery chargers, and that stuff is intimidating. I feel like I'm going to lose money regardless, with emphasis on lose money. Um, so I've been conversing with them for like the past 4 days, and those freight charges, man, or those shipping charges, that stuff is complex. And it's like you lose money if you just have the factory ship it to you, because then they'll like mark it up versus having a dedicated shipping agency do it for you.
like a freight forwarder or whatever.
Either like it's just hard because like I don't understand all that stuff, and I just feel like I'm just gonna lose regardless. So what else have I do? Building out a inventory system and building out a rental system, equipment rental system, in which there's like kind of two levels of abstraction, right? One is the equipment rental system, but then at a lower level, it's an inventory system, right? It relies on the inventory system. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, here's the inventory contracts right here, or core operations right here. And where am I
Yeah,
at? Where's the
rental
equipment?
is just an application of inventory or
exactly.
Yeah, inventory is just a hold of things.
And so that's the inventory. And then, so persisting it to an event store in addition to a relational database. So you're writing it twice. One for like hydrating state if you ever need to, or maintaining a ledger without blowing away historical records within the business, hence the event store. And the other one is analytics or scalable querying. So here's the spec for where am I at? Here's the spec for the customer side, request categories, request category, rental, request help, which is servicing whatever equipment that they rented. And then I'm not sure if this return is actually needed because, like, yeah, in reality, a customer returns, but within the system, I mean, a customer is not on their app submitting return. Well, they can request a return maybe, and the courier can come out there and pick it up.
Yeah, maybe you're just missing the
Yeah, so maybe this needs to change.
because you have help request, request help. The sandwich. Request help, help request. Maybe it should be request return, return request.
Well, the customer return should probably be a return. I feel like it's this right. It's unit. Well, I mean, there has to be a receipt, right? Request return receipt, something like that. And then the courier
Well,
potentially
receipt, if you're requesting a return, you wouldn't get a receipt, right?
you are getting a receipt. You're getting a timestamp that gets saved in the records that you actually did request a return. The couriers get notified um, of your request for them to come pick it up. Like to me, so there's potentially two types of return. They can drop it off. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Like I talked to some storekeepers about if they had storage space so that I can forward traffic to their shops in exchange for them receiving some equipment, whether it's umbrellas, chairs, or phone chargers. Um, Remind you, it's really hard to have these conversations if I don't have like a brochure of what the business plan is. But I feel like I should probably test it out first before I print out the brochure so that I know frequently asked questions.
Mhm.
Uh, I've been up to a lot, Sean. And how do I get back to my StreamYard?
Yeah. What's your inventory
Hey,
spec
Roman.
look like?
My inventory spec is this right here. It's basically queries and posts. So these are after register, like you register something into your inventory, and there's also a thought process of there's a depot ID, right, or a depot, which means that there can be different locations or storage or warehouses that have their own inventory, and so I try to be forward thinking and go ahead and add that in there. So, for example, if I'm able to get some of these shops on Ocean Drive that hug the beach to partner with me, like maybe a convenience store, right, that has some storage space, I get to, when customers decide that they'll personally drop off the equipment instead of being charged a fee for a courier to come pick it up, then they'll go ahead, walk back to Ocean Drive, go into that shop, return it. But now, because they're in that shop, um, they now have an opportunity to observe and maybe make a impulsive buy within that shop. So that's kind of like the frame that I'm trying to pitch to these shopkeepers to partner with me.
Hmm.
Instead of me spending $10,000, $15,000 a month on a shop just for storage, like I'd rather just use their shop that's easily available. Or, I mean, as we discussed last week, just get a get a vehicle and park it in the lot, and they get the location of where that vehicle is parked, which is kind of weird. But I mean, if a startup is a startup, so whatever.
Yeah, as long as the thing has a logo on it or some sort of like whatever, it's not a big deal. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you put a you know uh, yeah, just a logo of any sort really, or a number, or some sort of official looking thing, and the
yeah.
dynamics changed. It's not just
So
somebody in the car.
so all of this, I feel like it was important for me to document the states, but really, I don't have to have a function for every single one of these because a state is nothing but a description. That's it. It's literally like a string, right? With everything else being the same. So I have this notion of um where am I at? Where am I at? Where's my data gateway? Post. These are all literally looks like this needs to be give me a second. Um this is probably a bad example right now. But basically the state is really just string and it just gets passed to the same function, which I don't see in here yet, but that's the way it's going to work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is still work in progress. Uh, I'll stop talking. Hey, Roman, I don't know if I said hi yet. Stop screen.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Feedback, help, encouragement, disclaimers.
You're doing great. Uh, I don't know what else to say, man. It's you're making progress for sure.
Did your in-law go through similar growing pains? Did you guys ever have a conversation about how you got started?
With his business,
Yeah.
I mean, he bought into something, but I mean, he's still having struggles with stuff. So recently, he'd found out that you have to pay tax on inventory just sitting there. Like,
That's specific to the state.
I don't know. I have no idea the
I mean,
detail.
I know like vehicles have to pay a tax. Well, they have to keep insurance. I know they have to keep it. They have to maintain insurance while their vehicles are sitting in the lot waiting to be bought. I understand that, but like you have to pay a tax on just the items that you bought that you already paid for. You have to pay and the warehouse or the storefront that you're storing them in. You have to pay a tax on that.
Yeah, apparently.
No, I'll
So
leave that
it's
state. I'll leave that state. That's stupid.
I don't think it's just the state though. It might be.
You're paying a tax on the space that you're running your business out of, that you're storing the inventory. You paid a tax on the actual inventory itself that you purchased, and now they want you to pay an inventory tax. No, f that. Those are the decisions of politicians, current and past, that just made bad decisions, and now they're trying to like. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now. When you're in prison, people bleep you. What is it called? Extort you. F that, man. You should say no and leave.
Well, it's you can't say no to the government though.
You can say no to the state and relocate.
Yeah,
I know
not if
it's
you're
easier
a
said
local
than done.
business. Yeah. Um, it seems like it's a form of, I don't know actually know
Pay
what
tax on your
what
own
it is.
inventory after you already paid tax on acquiring the inventory and pay tax on the storage space to house the inventory, and they want you to pay tax on the just keeping the inventory that you haven't sold yet. That's stupid. That's them just trying to get more money for their failed policies.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the details of it. Um,
I'm surprised they even passed this law.
I don't know. It might be a federal thing. I have no idea. Um, I don't know. It probably it depends on a lot. I'm guessing maybe it's the appreciation of the inventory. I have no idea. But anyways, he found out there was a bunch of taxes that he had to pay that he didn't know that he had to pay. So he's gotta
Uh,
get that scratch. So it's, I know at every step of the way he feels like he as soon as he feels like he's making progress and getting in a good spot, something like that pops up, and he's got to dish out a bunch of money and make it go away.
yeah,
So
something else that stressed me out was I had to get my taxes done before the 17th, so I forgot I left that part out. That was also
yeah,
bothering me.
tax day was, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, taxes suck.
Sound like you said Texas sucks.
No, taxes. Although you got to pay
uh,
for the government somehow, I suppose.
Participated in a virtual masterminds group with some people down here in Florida. That was interesting. That's the thing. Like, it's, I kind of get it now. It's positive reinforcements when you talk to people that have a similar mentality that you have. Because when I'm talking to like just my acquaintances, like they'll try to be supportive, but they can't really relate,
Yeah,
and I can't really have a conversation with them without them yawning, right? And I guess that's probably the advantage of joining like some startup community or networking community is you get refreshed and you get to share your enthusiasm and you get support for something that, I mean, let's be honest, like 99% of people aren't doing, and those are the one percenters that are actually trying to make something happen. These are the people that are going against the systemic like public school training, and they're like, nah, I want to serve myself.
yeah.
I don't
You
want
need to
to, I don't
listen to
want
that
to serve
book,
others.
Unscripted.
Okay.
I like it. This is exactly what it talks about. But yeah, no, I mean that was the idea, and obviously I've fallen off the boat. So in terms of your actual entrepreneur endeavors, I'm not helping very much, I don't think.
Oh man, you
But
probably
that's the
cancel our masterminds now.
no. Like
Okay.
I said, I'll be here as long as I want. I'm happy just talking about whatever too. Um, it doesn't necessarily have to be business and stuff like that. So, but that's the goal of the mastermind kind of thing, is to do that elevation and to surround yourself with people that are in the same space. And that's where you'll get the most. So if you um, you know getting part of those kinds of groups, if you're serious, is probably a good thing. People who are actually making moves, because you're exactly right. You're going to get a lot more ideas and
Positive
support
reinforcement.
and, yeah, reinforcement and advice, better advice. Um, Maybe they'll warn you about the tax incursions you're about to take starting a business before
Yeah.
what they ran into. I don't know. There's all sorts of stuff like that. That's good to have a group like that. So and that the thing is that if you can come in at the bottom of one of those where you're working towards something with people who are ahead of you, they're going to elevate you to their level. So
This is true. So I
yeah,
mean, I've been maintaining a masterminds like every other Wednesday with this founder in Texas, And honestly, I feel like I contribute nothing to him, and he's just mentoring me the entire time. I think he'll be somewhat enthused of all the progress and these new experiences that I'm going through. Hence, sourcing through China and ad campaigns through Facebook Manager or Facebook Business Manager. Uh, so, I mean, I think in general, people tend to want to help or encourage people that demonstrate progress and are reaching into or reaching outside their comfort zones.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the good thing about, I suppose, all that stuff too is, you're leveling up micro skills. So even if your this current business venture doesn't really work out,
which is highly likely.
um, you have a whole suite of new skills though that you can apply towards the next thing.
Yeah.
People who actually take that plunge. I don't know. Have you met anybody who's really just outright failed at business that just then becomes a total failure at things? I've seen like people who take the step.
That are still living that didn't like off
Well, yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
I mean, to your one, it's kind of complicated. I'll answer your question. I can't think of anybody, but to add a note to that, a footnote is I'm not the most social person, so I don't know thousands of people, especially here in Florida. Like I attract people to talk to me just because I tend to stand out at a Starbucks at like 6 o'clock in the morning and they want to know what I'm doing. A lot of elderly people, elderly white people, um, elderly white men specifically, they tend to like introduce themselves because I just don't fit the demographic of consistently being somewhere early in the morning on my laptop. But I don't. Yeah, you raise a good point. That's interesting. I never considered that.
Yeah, isn't that
I
so
definitely think people like that are wired a certain type of way where they become desensitized and they just start pushing towards whatever they want to go.
yeah. Yeah, well that you've worked through boundaries that the next time you don't have to learn how to work through again. That's why you get paid to be a senior software engineer. You've made the mistakes that you don't have to work through next time.
You would
But
think we had the
yeah.
conversation about do you have experience with this technology XYZ? Yes, I do. And man, it's horrible. Oh my goodness, let me tell you. And then say, pass. We'll pass on him.
Yeah. You know
Yeah, we
what's
had that
difficult
conversation.
is is like is being able to the interesting thing with like testing and stuff like that, unit testing and all these kinds of things is that I think there's some cargo cult mentality to it, and it's shifted so that you have to kind of like there's really no good proof that I think that all that stuff works. Like real hard evidence that it's like it works. Um so if you want to like escape some of it, there's like how do you if it feels like a waste of time to you, how do you express that to someone? I
Well,
don't know what I'm getting at here, but
I don't.
we've been
I
down this road before.
vehemently disagree with you on testing.
Well, no,
Um,
no, 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 not like testing, but I think we've had this discussion before, but it's the nuances around what you test, because obviously you should test. That's
yeah,
what I'm getting
I
at.
heard you. I heard you say integration testing.
No, unit, and
Okay.
when I'm talking about unit, I'm talking more like where let's say this where code coverage becomes a thing at the unit test level. Like I, I don't know.
So I don't. I'm losing more and more respect for unit testing. It, is there value in it? Yeah, but given the constraints of time to market, time to go live, should the conversations, should the effort, should the time be on unit testing, uh, a method of a class that is nested 3 levels of abstraction. And I would agree with you. Like, no, like unit test the endpoints that are exposed, not the implementation details.
Yeah. Yeah, really what you're just trying to do is prove that it does what you're asking it to do, but I don't know. I've been trying to reframe unit testing at that smaller level into something that I can feel like it adds value. Like I've been starting to try to write tests as if it's documentation. I actually had comments about like I'm trying to imagine like if I had to come back and rediscover this later, um, what kind of information would I want to know without having to look at the code? Um,
Well, that should be easy. Every test has 4 stages: setup, test, verification, and teardown. You know exactly what's required to set up that system under test. You know exactly what that operation is for that system under test to be tested. You know exactly what it means for that test to be successful, hence verification. And then it could be implicit through garbage collection with the teardown phase in regards to a unit test, in the literal teardown phase if you're doing an integration test. Like, I'll spit out all this in my interviews, and it doesn't matter. Like, I can really go in deep and just give a discourse, and it's like they care about vendor technologies. They don't care about software engineering. I'm sorry, I went
yeah,
off on a tangent. It's just I've practiced these responses so many times, and my success rate with being offered contracts hasn't increased. So I know that's a
yeah.
completely separate subject, but I got an interview today at 1.
No, good luck.
It doesn't matter anymore. It literally doesn't matter what I know. It's all about, do I make someone feel confident and feel secure? That's literally all that matters.
You
I could
should
have a
try that. This
PhD. I could have a PhD. It won't matter. They just want to feel confident in themselves and secure about themselves. I literally believe that. It doesn't matter what I know. It matters how much I can make them feel secure. So
the you should focus on doing that than this interview. Just take a loop instead of answering the way that you would answer with this stuff. Just be like, how am I going to make this person feel the most secure and excited about me?
like concierge, like,
Yeah, different tactics or
so
whatever.
what? Act like I'm a Hilton resort agent.
No, well, no. Like when they ask you, "Hey, do you have experience in this stuff?" Be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I do.
Not only do
Yeah,
I have
I
experience,
got
but I have
experience. I
pull
love
up a
it."
pull up a slide deck, share my screen, and just go through each slide and do my prepared presentation.
No, just answer, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
did this and then just rattle off like one, two things, and you're done.
a whole bunch of vendor technologies and buzzwords.
No, no,
No, that's what they want
no,
to hear.
no. Just answer their questions.
Okay, okay, all right.
Yes, no,
Yo,
maybe. I don't know.
rest in peace to Paul Mooney, man. Caught me off guard yesterday. You're like, who? I said Paul
The
Mooney.
name sounds familiar.
I went to his stand up about 10 years ago in Cleveland. I felt sorry for every white person that paid money to be there. I felt bad for them
Oh, I
because,
see.
like, yeah, he's a very, like, I don't know what happened to him in the past, but he does not hold back, because a big part of his content or his performance is jokes on racism. And I mean, he doesn't hold back. I mean, he's even like, well, I don't agree with, like, made snaps at the Holocaust, and I'm like, how does this person not get canceled? Um, yeah, but anyway, he died. And
Yeah.
I was looking to see if they were going to say it's COVID, but they say it was a heart attack. I'm like, oh, that's a first. Usually, they just automatically say COVID. Someone gets caught in a drive-by. It was COVID. So
Yeah, honestly, I think anything should go in comedy. I don't understand I actually don't understand whatsoever the like pushback against comedians and stuff for and that for you know, because part of it is that they're supposed to make you uncomfortable, and if you laugh, it's usually because they
there's some truth.
well, yeah, they find something that you think you feel like is true, and they put a light on it that that brings that out, and it can make you laugh, but but it also then you know makes you think about those kinds of things possibly and stuff. And um actually, I mean, we should be all just a little bit less serious about stuff.
Yeah.
If people had a better time, maybe we'd stop having fights and shit. People hating each other and all that.
Would you,
Everyone just wants to get along and have a good time.
if you could, would you go back to being a child? Like, what's more? What would you prefer, childhood or adulthood? Now, let me highlight both, right? And maybe I should constrain adulthood to being in your 20s or 30s, right? You're in your 30s still, so
Yeah.
uh, child is no bills, right? No no tax day on April 15th or whatever. A child is you don't really see you don't really see I don't know, it's probably something you probably don't relate to as much, but you don't really see racism. You just see people that happen to be different shades of color, right? Um, a child is like people like they don't people aren't scared of you when you're a child. People when you're a child, no one thinks you're a bum. No one thinks you're a drug addict. No one when you approach somebody, no one clutches their purse, right? As a man. Like just the things that we probably take for granted. A child is not a threat to society.
I think all children are drug addicts. So
What
no.
Kool-Aid, sugar, candy.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
but a child, uh, one of the biggest things when I was a child that I couldn't wait to grow up was driving a car and sex. All right, that's what I looked forward to when I was a child. Those are the two that were on my like list of oh I can't wait to be grown. Right, all the stuff that I would watch in rated R movies I can actually do. Like and that was it. And then you have hella friends, right? Which I had hella friends. As an adult, you can drive, you can have your relations, and you can rent a car, and you can travel without a chaperone, aka parent. But then you have like life. You have like health insurance. You have I'm going to the doctor for a checkup, but there is a small probability that I could come out diagnosed with something terminal. Like it's crazy, man. So what would you prefer?
What would I prefer? Well, I'm not reading too much into it. I'd probably go with being a kid.
I would no doubt just be a kid again. I feel like
Yeah.
life is simple. You don't the only things that like stress you out is coming home before the streetlights come on, report cards, make sure you get there before your parents come home from work,
Yeah, I guess
and
it depends on, if you're in a good family though too, but
making sure
and what that means, I suppose.
yeah, I
I
don't
don't know,
know.
kids are different. It's different though. Like, even I'm thinking about raising, how I raise my kids and versus when I was a kid, and I'm thinking like, I'm worried about them going off and just riding the bike down the street or whatever. But thinking about when I was a kid, we were biking all over the place at every age. Like we were just free ranging it. Like we'd go out in the woods, deep in the woods, as far as we had kind of our boundaries, and it was like, whatever, we just go.
Well, you said we, you didn't say you, right? And so I think
Yeah.
that's the difference. I mean, I have these conversations about like, you know, if I were to have a kid and my kid is like 10, would I let him like play at the park, go to the park, which is maybe half a mile away by himself? And it's kind of hard. And then you can say the same thing about if you had a daughter. Like, would you let your daughter go by herself and she's like 10 years of age to a park, unchaperoned without her friends? And it's like, I'm sure that there were still like people that had issues and kidnapping kids say, "Oh, I lost my dog," as they drive a kidnap van, and you help me find my dog, and then they just take them.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know how I brought this up, but like the things that you have to probably be concerned about.
We had to be concerned when I was a kid too, though. I mean, there was probably more pedo vans in the 80s than there are today.
Pedal vans, is that's what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know, I guess I never really thought about that. There were times where I'd just go on bike rides and stuff myself, but
I mean, as a
usually you were
boy,
going
it's
out with
a lot lower. I would hope it's a lot lower being a boy than a girl.
I don't know, maybe. I doubt it. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, a
Yeah, it
sick
could
person
go
is a
either
sick
way.
person, right?
Yeah, it is pretty scary, like, the amount of human trafficking that still goes on in the US and stuff like that even. It's like, I've heard, like, they might even, like, traffic people up to Duluth and get them out on ships and bring them to foreign countries and shit. It's like, holy crap. That's some scary stuff. That's like the biggest nightmare is to lose a kid to any of that kind of stuff. Just losing a kid in general. That's got to be like I could imagine that'd be the worst pain, like emotional pain that ever.
Yeah,
I hope I never have to go through it. But yeah.
yeah,
No, it's getting to be a downer. But yeah, I'd
yeah.
I'd rather be a
I
kid.
started the tone as soon as we started. I'm like, these are my stressors, and
Yeah. No, the one thing too is that but as a kid there's still a lot that surprises you too. Like I was thinking about, like, I bought my kid a pack of Pokemon cards and he doesn't know anything about playing the game, whatever. He just knows that his sister has them and he doesn't know what they mean or how to use them. It's what. There's no thing. He's just delighted to have these cards
someone
you
else
know,
finds valuable.
he can kind of have a trade with his sister with and kind of show off and stuff like that. So it's but to have that kind of like level of enjoyment and things that really don't have that much intrinsic value or to you or whatever. So
I would say I think the biggest difference between children and adults are children subconsciously just naturally unlock achievements. They do. They learn certain techniques to from doodling to drawing. They learn certain type. I don't know. It's like they're naturally curious. They naturally explore. They naturally acquire skills, and they don't resist change. They just naturally flow through change. They flow through states. And adults are the complete opposite. We don't want to think. We don't want to change as long as everything is okay. We want things to be stable. We're not interested in really learning as much. We just want to keep what we know and hope that we get paid to consistently apply it over and over again. And I think that's the biggest difference. Is children adapt and adults resist.
Yeah.
So
But that's just the nature of evolution and stuff. That's why wolf pups play. They don't play when they're older. Yeah. It's interesting.
that's
There's a
cool.
book I listened to on it called Play. And they talked about wolves and dogs. And dogs are basically like they're stunted. They're wolves that have been basically like stunted to their puppy stage. Because an adult wolf will, at a certain point, they turn off a bunch of toggles in their head and they start to move into their pack mode and all of that, where they have a very particular place they need to be at. But puppies and stuff like that, uh, they have to play. They're indistinguishable from dogs to a certain stage in life. So dogs, they don't actually lose that play um, uh, instinct or whatever. They don't change. They don't move on from the puppy stage to a wolf stage, um, which is why they're nice and friendly, happy, and willing to play tug of war until they're old. But um, but yeah, play is how we learn a lot of stuff. We need to have kids just play more. It'll solve everything. Less stress, man. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, maybe we're just trying to achieve mastery is what adults are looking at. You can't really achieve mastery unless you sit with one thing and start to focus out the stuff that isn't around that. You know, if you had all of the distractions of being a kid and can flow through change instantly, which some people do, like me, but no, um, then you'll never become truly great at any one thing,
I don't
right?
know. I
So,
think things there's label me a chauvinist. I don't care. In adults, I feel like mainstream females, what they value the most and what they put focus on the most is acceptance. Um, with males, mainstream, and maybe it has to do with age too, right? I feel like what they value the most is is it really acceptance or is it status, right? Is status and acceptance really the same thing?
no,
Um,
it's probably a status. It's
to be
now you're
accepted
getting
means that
aren't you getting
people
into
like you.
the lobster hierarchy, right? The Jordan Peterson, like it is the most of what we all go through is just it's a
Well,
sexual hierarchy, and we're trying to get
okay.
to the top so that we can be chosen for mate selection.
So this is what I mean. I understand that I understand that like Miami Beach isn't reality of mainstream America. Like people had to tell me that, but this is the case that I live in, and so like my mind's conditioned to stereotype certain things because I see it so much, right? And so down here, I see like 95% of black women with ridiculous flamboyant lashes. They look retarded, right? And hence me saying that adults or adult women, they tend to strive for acceptance. They want to be accepted. They want to look like everybody else. If they don't, then something's wrong with them somehow. I don't really think men are like that. I don't really think that. I don't really think. What's something ridiculous that men do that women don't appreciate? I mean, one is like revving your engine, but I mean that doesn't really compare to like stupid cosmetic practices.
Well, there's plenty
Uh,
of dudes that are hitting the gym uh, to get buffed up muscles and stuff. That has nothing to do with that.
tattoos,
That is
maybe.
no. I'd assume that that's the same thing as getting your eyelashes done. Because I mean, eyelashes are like a one of these things that if you accentuate a certain way, it has a certain attractiveness to it. Now
But
maybe
it
they're going
doesn't.
overboard. Yeah, but maybe they're going overboard, and maybe it's weird that it is. But it's the same thing with like building excessive muscle mass, especially if it's not functional. Like there's a difference between like a strong like a building strength and that for health or for actual feats of strength and stuff like that, or to do a job or whatnot. But if you're just building physique, um, you're no different.
Yeah, but that's not really, I don't think that's a good example because building physique actually requires discipline and effort, right? Discipline as in diet, weight training, uh, education in regards to really understanding how the digestive system breaks down whatever enzymes or whatever. Like, I assume that, I mean, outside of prison, if people really want to be a bodybuilder, they really understand how the human body works and what it takes. Um,
Also, if you've been around people that were obnoxious cologne, same thing.
Obnoxious clone,
Colognes, cologne,
clone.
men that were obnoxious cologne, or light fitting shirts with like their chests kind of sticking out a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a like watch like the show Jersey Shore. I'm sure it's basically the exact same between the men and the women in that show. Yeah.
I refuse to watch that show. Actually,
I'm not saying that I watch it. I'm just saying like if you look at a show like that, it captures what you're talking about probably, but on both male and female sides of the world. So there's preening and stuff like that, and yeah, but it's all. I don't think there's anything you know instinctively different there between men and women when you're doing that kind of stuff.
yeah, I think what drives men. I said status, but really, I think what drives men is options. And I think, well, maybe that would apply to both. I need Socrates right now to help me really articulate this. Um, I don't know. I just think we're a weird human race. Like I think the human race has issues. We have so much potential, but capitalism kind of destroys it. So I don't know. It enhances it and destroys it. We majority of us are consumers, and that's all we do is consume.
Yeah, you got to listen to that book telling you to consume, but wasn't that book unscripted? You're like reading pages right out of it. So
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you watch Twitch streams, but now I'm seeing a pattern of hot tub girls. So they'll wear their bikinis, they'll sit in the hot tub, and they talk about nothing that is informative. They talk about nothing that is educational. They talk about nothing that can help somebody be better. They just chat. And these are the people that make the most money
yeah.
on Twitch. Not
Well, there's a
not the
lot of
artists, not the
lonely
artists.
people out there though.
This
So,
is true. It's just like I said, human race is weird, man. Like what we value versus what we need. All right.
but yeah, but you're putting a value statement on that. Maybe hot tub girls is exactly what we need. I mean,
I'm gonna be a hot tub boy, and I'm gonna cater towards like gay people, and maybe I can make as much money as these hot tub girls do.
try it.
I will. I'm gonna wear like a leopard speedo.
There you go.
I'm gonna pierce my nipples, and I'm just going to like I don't know what I got a hairy. I got taco meat, right? I
Yeah.
think I'll probably get like a loop earring on both ears, and I'll just start flicking my wrist a lot. I want to see what happens.
See, I don't know. As long as you gotta go talk to the gal with the obnoxious long eyelashes and get some of those too. Because why not?
I know. I've never seen a dude with lashes. Period. I'm afraid just because I said that, I jinxed myself, and I might start seeing some guys trying to imitate that.
Yeah, yeah. You don't see it
Scary.
unless you're looking for it.
They'll, yeah. You know what? Maybe I should try to model the look of Xerxes.
Yeah, from 300. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a diva.
Oh
So,
yeah.
all right. Well, this conversation like is pretty much over with now.
Yep.
It's been real. Thanks for the encouragement. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what call to action or what I want to report next week that I actually got done.
Well, it's almost Memorial Day, so you have one more week until you're due.
The air show is coming. I'm actually excited, man. I'm gonna set up my canopy, my two. I bought some two high powered speakers that you can like Bluetooth in series. I don't know if I'm using the right word. I actually tested it out on the beach yesterday. It was all right. There was some latency though between the with the Bluetooth between the two speakers. I feel like one was like maybe 15 milliseconds ahead of the other one.
Hmm.
I gotta leave that on my review on Amazon though. I don't know. I hope to have this inventory rental system, the back end part done. Hopefully, I can report against that. And yeah, that's it.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Not gonna get my table done.
I literally forgot your name. Thanks, Sean.
We're going camping this weekend, so I'm not getting my
Again?
table done. Yeah, I'll be camping this weekend. Normal, like in the camper camping, and then actually I'm going on a short canoe trip next week. So
Do you get a waterproof case for your phone when you go canoeing or rafting?
I don't bring my canoe or phone canoeing. I leave that back in the
Even,
car.
even if you had a waterproof case?
No, I don't. I don't want it. Like the
Okay.
whole point with that is to get it. Well, they're barely useful because the service is spotty as all heck up
Well, the
there. But
service is not the GPS. The GPS is still going to work. Yes, it will still work.
yeah, maybe if you've got the maps downloaded. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
the component will work for sure. I just don't know if it would actually display where you are. But
you're
you
right.
bring maps for that. So, but but yeah, no, I don't bring it because I don't want to be distracted by it. I don't want to listen to anything. I just want to be out there away from technology entirely.
Well, I
So
would have thought it would be in case of emergency.
no, if we get into emergency, it's going to be out the old
Y'all
fashioned
just
way.
cannibalize each other.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I mean, what would happen? That's why, like, we were gonna go two of us, and I was like really gunning for a third, and we found one of my actual brother is gonna come with us. So, because it's like if you have two people, if one person got like injured, like it's gonna be so hard to get out of there. If you got
Yeah.
two people, you could try to carry, one person carries someone or whatever.
I think that was a strategy of the Viet Cong. They rather maim somebody than kill them.
Oh yeah, because then you could slow down the whole track or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Those are smart people, man.
alrighty, well, have a
All right.
good
See
day.
ya.
Yep,
Bye.
bye.
Roman, adios. And yeah, that's it. Adios. We got to catch up again one of these days. So I'm out. I'm leaving and take care. I'm ending this broadcast now. All right. See ya.